What if your lack of follow through isn't failing? It's signaling. Welcome to your daily hit of grace and grit, your quick dose of inspiration to kickstart your day. This show is proudly sponsored by Rumble and Rise. To find out more about joining Rumble and Rise, head on over to graceandgrit.com/ready to rumble. I'm Courtney Townley, and here is today's hit. When we struggle to follow through on the promises we make to ourselves, we tend to jump to the harshest conclusions. I am a failure. I'm undisciplined. I must not want it enough. But what if the promises you keep breaking aren't evidence of a personal flaw, but they're feedback? What if they're your life's way of saying, this isn't the right fit for me anymore? Often broken promises don't mean that you need more willpower. They are signaling that the promise itself needs a closer look. So let me give you a few examples of how this shows up. You promise yourself you'll wake up at 5 a.m. and meditate every day, but you're already running on fractured sleep. Your body isn't resisting because you lack discipline. It's resisting because the promise is out of sync with your physiology. You commit to cooking every night, a new meal at home, a healthy meal, even though your evenings are filled with caring for other people. And you find yourself reaching for takeout again. That's not laziness. It's your real life saying, this structure doesn't match your reality. This commitment doesn't match your reality. Or maybe you set a goal to work out 6 days a week, but every time you start, it lasts 3 days, if that, and then collapses. Not because you're incapable, but because your schedule, your stress load, and your recovery needs weren't a part of the equation. We miss these signals because we've been conditioned to believe that follow-through is strictly about effort. Push harder, try again, get serious. But consistency isn't created through force. Consistency, real consistency, is generated through congruence. So today, instead of adding pressure, add perspective. I want you to sit with a few questions. Questions like, which promises do you continually avoid because they no longer reflect who you're becoming? Which promises feel heavy, not because they're challenging, but because they're misaligned with your current season of life? Which promises energize you? And which ones immediately tighten your chest the moment you think about them? You can't consistently follow through on a promise that no longer fits your life. You can white knuckle your way through for a few days, maybe even a few weeks, but sustainable follow through requires that the promise supports you rather than squeezes you. That's not failure. That's feedback. That's a request for refinement. Follow-through isn't about proving your worth. It's about being in an honest relationship with your own life. It's about knowing when a promise needs to be updated, simplified, broken down, or even released entirely. So today, don't overhaul anything. Don't guilt yourself into doubling down. Just listen. Let your life show you where there's resistance. There's usually misalignment. Where there is relief, there's usually truth. And where a promise keeps slipping out of your hands, there's almost always an invitation, not to add more, but to choose better. Sometimes the most powerful follow-through starts with one simple, honest question. Is this promise still right for me. If this stirred something inside of you, imagine what a whole book of clarity and courage could ignite. The Consistency Code, A Midlife Woman's Guide to Deep Health and Happiness, goes even deeper into the mindset and practices that create real, meaningful change at midlife. Grab your copy today over at theconsistencycode.com and keep the momentum alive.